Hey Juan, how's it going, man?
It's going great.
Dude, thank you so much for being the first guest on the Mom Poppy Show. Appreciate that.
Thank you for having me,
You
man.
know, you and I have been friends for quite some time. You're my personal trainer, a good friend of mine, um, confidant ear to share things with, and I really appreciate you being here, where we can just have a discussion on health, wellness, and overall fitness.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me. I'm excited to be the first guest and get this kicked off.
All right, man. So let me start it off. I just want to kind of have a conversation, not necessarily question and answer type deal, but we've been training together for about a year. You've seen the transformation over the past year. When I first came to you, and you compare myself back then to who I am now, how do you think fitness has influenced this development or change in me?
Man, obviously we had me, you and your wife had a lunch at Soto. We had some sushi, kind of met
Yeah.
up, see, you wanted to get into some training. Obviously, we already knew each other from beforehand. And my biggest thing is just obviously getting that feel out of like, how serious you are, right? You definitely wanted to make some changes, get your sleep under control, get a better training routine. You had something going on, but you really wanted to dial it in. So after that interview, I remember seeing, okay, you're very successful in the other avenues of your life, your business, your family life, everything else. And from what you expressed, you're missing that fitness and nutrition kind of like part of it. And after having that conversation, I knew like, okay, this guy's killing it, right? In the outside world, but needs to like dial in all the fitness side. And after we had that conversation, we met, shortly after we started training, kind of get a feel out for you of how you felt, how you performed. Obviously, you're a high performer, so you're able to like go hard and train hard. But then it was like, okay, now let's dial all this in. And
Hmm.
it was pretty, pretty easy and pretty fluid in the sense of like, your work ethic carries into the weight room. And I think that's one of the most crucial things for me is when I work with people is like I don't just work with anybody. I work with people that are committed because I'm also, even though I'm like a very high touch coach, I'm also not there to hold your hand the whole time. Like I expect, you're a grown man, so like you
Right,
do
right.
your own thing. So yeah, man, I think the changes from that first beginning, you already had the mindset. It was just about implementing the right plan for you to be successful. And obviously that was my job to be able to provide for you, and you executed. And looking back from when you started to now, like you excel in all your training. You always kill it. Whether if you're traveling, you still work out on your own. You have your plan. You do all the stuff. So I would say the growth from you from when we started to now has been substantial in the sense of your fitness, and I see it carry over in the way you walk into a room
Right.
and
Yeah.
everything else.
There,
So
there's definitely a more confidence in my stride every single day because I know I look the part. I put the time in the gym. I feel better. I'm healthier now. One thing I always tell the guys here at the firm is I give them my priorities. Every time I hire someone on, I give them my top priorities, and I always start with health. So it's health, family, work, and then everything else. They figure out on their own where they want to put religion. I'm not going to push that on them, but I always tell them if we don't have our health, we really don't have any of the other things, right? Like if I can't be present with my kids because I'm unhealthy, or I can't make trips. Like today, I just flew in a couple hours ago. I was out last night with some clients. It's exhausting, right? But because of the fitness that you and I have done, I'm able to have those long nights, wake up early, make it over back to work, and then back to here now having a podcast. Do you see do you see professionals like, or what kind of influence do you think health overall has on a person's profession or like their
yeah,
business?
I think feeding off that, you're basically saying, without your health, you can't, attend to your family, can't attend to your work. You're overly stressed. You're like, your bad habits carry over into everything else that you do. So I think fitness is a big piece. I've been working with high performers for a great part of my career. People that, are very successful in different realms of life, whether they're, business owners, actors, professional athletes, you name it, I've worked with them. And I think the biggest thing is the people that take very like a big initiative into their health, it carries into over everything else that they do. Like the people that I tell like, hey, do 8 to 12 reps, and they always hit the 12 reps. Like those are the people that I'm like, okay, these guys are winners. They're
Yeah.
they're always
Yep.
gonna look to do the most. So I think health and wellness and fitness overall is a major key role into how you do everything else. And so yeah, to answer that question, it plays a huge part because if you have a healthy body, a healthy mind, you're
Yeah.
going to be able to perform in all other areas.
100%. I agree with that. Like it instills a discipline in you, right? And it's kind of like you can kind of start stacking habits, right? So like you and I train every morning at 8 a.m. I know I have an obligation to be there at 8 a.m., right? So like I'm not going to go hard the night before, go out. I'm going to be present every time. And I'm going to try to give everything I can in that hour-long session because I know how much of a benefit it's going to give me. The other thing of my business is looking the part, right? So my firm is comprised of a bunch of young folks, and I tell them all the time, like 70% of our job is selling the way we look and the way we present. So if our presentation is solid, but our look is not, it's going to affect the outcome of whether or not we get that deal or we don't get that deal. So looking the part builds credibility instantly because, we're judged in the first 5 seconds of meeting someone.
Yes.
And if we look fit or we look the part, we're going to have a much better opportunity of earning that business. And so I tell these guys all the time, I don't expect you in the office at 8 a.m., 7:30 in the morning. I expect you guys to go work out in the morning. And you come in the office at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Because I want to prioritize health because it builds that habit of going in, locking in, giving it your all, and then it also reflects in other aspects of life, right? Other business, right? If you're loyal to yourself in the gym, you're going to be loyal to the business. You're going to be loyal to your family, and you're gonna it's stacking up over time, and it's just one habit of going into the gym every morning.
Yeah, like your body's a representation of your habits and your discipline, right? When you walk in a room and you look fit, you're obviously your skin's glowing, you look the part. Even if you're not, I'm obviously in the fitness industry, so it's kind of my job to stay in shape.
Bro, I just take one look at you. I know you're in the fitness industry.
So it's like we always want to say this, but it's like with me too. I have to
Yeah.
look the part. There's been times in my career where I've gotten like bigger, heavier set in the sense because I was lifting super heavy, and looking back at it, damn, I didn't really look the part because of how I feel and look now.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. I'm my own business card, and I think everyone else, whether you're selling or you're doing something, you are your own business card. When you walk in, someone sees discipline by just looking at you. And I think it's very important for whatever realm of industry that you're in, walking in with that confidence, looking healthy, looking like you slept, looking all these things is going to carry over into any business deal.
Agreed. So I'll share a personal story because I didn't reach back. We used to train back in like maybe 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
I know my daughter was just born, so she was real young. So it may have been 2015. And man, I would love the workouts. And it was a group setting. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 times a week that we were getting after it. And then life happened. And I stopped working out. And I honestly, if I showed you the picture of what I look like Pablo Escobar. Like it was bad. So when COVID happened, when COVID hit, that's when I kind of like hit rock bottom physically. And Edith actually started working out. And so I saw her getting after it. And I'm like, man, I need to get back in this gym. So in 2021, I built a home gym at the house and started training again, like little by little, like getting in. I didn't realize how weak I was and how like my body just, it wasn't attractive to me. And I look back at those pictures and I'm like, how did I let myself go so much? So I actually trained for probably 4 years before I had the confidence to reach back out to you to say, hey, I'm ready to go like all in. I'm ready to really get after it. But I had to like build my body back up just to like a baseline to have that confidence to go to you. And you train a lot of business professionals. You got leaders on I remember a time when I was working out at 8 a.m. and then Lance Armstrong was working out at 9 a.m. with you doing the same exact workout I was doing. So that your caliber of trainees is high up there. So like if I'm in a position if I'm someone on the outside and I say, is Juan my guy? Like how do I get a hold of you? How do I know that this is something that I should be doing?
So, I think it's for everyone. I think you can't get intimidated by the people that I train or people that I'm working with. I think you have to, as a coach, I have to meet people where they're at, And, that being said, I also require a level of discipline and commitment from my clients and people that I work with. I'm at this place called Correct Fitness, used to be formerly known On a Gym, which I'm the co-founder of. And, been there for over a decade. So that's where you can find me in person. Most of my training these days is, for new clients is online. It's kind of online training. That's what I promote because, obviously with my bandwidth and everything that I'm doing, pretty busy. But I do still work with people in person like yourself and other people. And, that's where you can find me at the moment.
So is your online training very similar to the in-person training?
Yes, it's very similar. You still get like the same protocols, everything that you would get it in person. Obviously, we don't train together, and a lot of those people are going to be in other cities or other places. So it still takes that time of like there's going to be a little bit more commitment needed because I'm not there to kind of like, hey man, push you a little bit harder, things like that. So yes, they still get the same protocols, the same style training, just not that in person.
So how do you describe the training? Because I've told people I tell people all the time about you. Like my guy Juan, he's the best. And they're like, well, what kind of training do you do? I'm like, I don't know. We just get after it.
Yeah.
And I was like, he goes, or other people go, is it CrossFit like? And I'm like, I don't think so. It's more like just lifting weights and getting after it. So how do I properly describe the training? Because I butcher it all the time.
So it's a hybrid approach. Obviously now with High Rocks and all these things, hybrid's like kind of like the thing, the word, the trending hashtag. So it's a hybrid training, but I've been doing hybrid style training for over a decade where I brought in everything that I've learned from, my previous strength and conditioning, my MMA training, my, training professional dancers, training a variety of people, bodybuilders, all that stuff on top of like the education system, which I learned from John Wolf and Shane Hines. Like those things, I learned like the longevity style training. As you know, we spend a lot of time warming up. Then we like focus more on like the strength and conditioning part, and then we could just get after it with that conditioning piece. So it's a hybrid approach with with people that aren't necessarily trying to like kill themselves,
Yeah.
Then it's like a hybrid and functional bodybuilding. That's how I would describe
Hybrid
it.
functional bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I like that. And you're right about like, I don't think we're not trying to kill. You're not trying to kill us in the gym. You're really focusing on the aesthetics, the proper form, and cutting down on fat. And one exercise that we were talking about earlier that I absolutely love is the incline walking at 15 degrees at 3 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I feel like if there's one thing that we have done that when on my off days is like, it's the best way that I think I have shredded visceral fat.
Yeah. And yeah, man, I obviously credit zone 2 cardio for weight loss, mindset, just aerobic based training. So, I think it's a great piece to add into anyone's routine, whether you're training for marathons or you're training for bodybuilding, whatever that may be. It's a great way to access like, good cardio, burning body fat. And like I said, I do it myself. I try to hit anywhere between 120 to 180 minutes a week. And I think that's like the healthy position for me. If I'm trying to lose weight, then I'm hitting more of that 180 minutes. And I, obviously recommend it to you and all my clients.
180 minutes throughout the week.
Throughout the week, yeah.
Not in one session.
No. That'd be rough.
So let's say we get 1 million views on this podcast, right? If Preston edits it right, because we're producing great content here.
Yeah.
And if I'm one of those million out there watching this, and there was one thing I could do to like get back into the game, would it be the incline walking? Like, is that like kind of your entry level in?
Yeah, I think it's like building a good habit. Like I said, 100. If you're just starting out, right? You're starting out, obviously starting off with some body weight. Those warm up routines that I produce, basically, those are good for the longevity reasons. But yeah, get into zone 2. Like, all right, I'm going to do 3 sessions this week where I'm doing 60 minutes on the incline treadmill walk. That can vary for people depending on your aerobic fitness. It can be 8%, it can be 15%. The miles per hour, differs on the individual. So having a heart rate monitor, whether it be a watch or something across your chest to track that, because you want to stay in that 60, 70% heart rate zone where if someone were next to you, you could still hold a conversation. So yeah, that would be the key, is just starting off with some zone 2 cardio would be my suggestion, especially if you're intimidated, but you want to get in there, do it for like 4 to 6 weeks and then kind of amp up your training.
That's awesome. So the training is one piece, but a lot of conversations that you and I have is around nutrition, supplements, things like that. I gave up alcohol about 3 years ago, and that was the best thing ever. I relapse about twice a week though, but 3 years ago I made a decision. I'm like, okay, I need to give up this. It's just causing me too much pain in my life, which it was something I would go towards to get away from the pain, but it was causing me more pain, right? And it became, Edith and I, we don't really argue at all, really. But when we did, it always involved like some type of alcohol. So I was like, I gotta cut this out of my life. I'm gaining too much weight. COVID was bad. You could order 6 packs of wine from HEB. Remember that? Like, it was insane. So I had to cut that out. And when I did that, my life changed. And literally, so I gave up alcohol like January 6th of 2023. Started Nickel Hayden in June of 2023. I don't know if I would have been able to leave my prior firm, start a whole new firm, go hunt for clients, have the energy to do it if I had still maintained my drinking habits. And I mean, you don't drink very much either, and you maintain a healthy, physique all the time. How does alcohol play into all this?
Man, it's like anything, man. Everything in moderation. Like I still have my drinks here and there. I'm not saying that I'm like a saint because, I think everyone still needs to have that escape. And, I don't think alcohol is the escape, but, you're going to go out to dinner with some friends or you're going to have a business meeting, where it may be. You want to loosen up a little bit. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think I live more of that lifestyle, and I promote this to all my clients at 80-20%. 80% of the time stay dialed in, 20% have fun. I get it. We're not all robots. We're not like all that. Like, hey, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And like, to be honest with you, when I do live that lifestyle, I get more stressed out than having fun.
When you live the robot lifestyle, it's like cutting it out completely. I know. I know what that's like.
But, being able to prove to yourself that you can cut out alcohol for an extended period of time is very beneficial to show to yourself, like, yeah, you know what? I can eliminate these things. I can stop that. And I think that's key for every individual. But then obviously now if you want to, now I'm going to reintroduce things, you'll know how your body's affected, right? Especially if you dialed in your nutrition, your training. But man, if I have this drinking day, it's going to put me out for 3 days. I'm not going to be training good. I'm going to eat like crap. So it's like, alcohol is the biggest deterrent, I think, in most people's fitness journey. I don't think you should completely avoid it. And if I were to tell you that, I'd be a hypocrite because I don't do it. So, I think to each their own. If you decide to go like the sober lifestyle, I'm in full support. But if you don't, I think it's just everything in moderation.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. I did go cold turkey for quite some time and reintroduce. So I like to drink like a champagne or like a French wine because I feel like the French wine doesn't mess up my stomach like the American wine. I don't know what the difference is or what's in them, but I can have a glass of red French wine during dinner and feel fine the next day. If I have red, it's like a red American wine. It's my belly's messed up. Do you know the difference? Or is there?
Man, I honestly don't. So I'm not a wine drinker. I don't even. Okay. I don't very like drink variety of things. I'm a tequila drinker. If I drink something, low calorie, it's good for me.
What's your go-to?
Man, honestly, right now, Clase Amigos Repo I just like the taste. I know everyone's like, oh, it's an overpriced tequila, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
I just like it.
Do you mix it with anything?
Or just neat? Straight neat. Yeah, neat. If anything, I'll add a little bit of splash of soda, but that's about it. But to me, that works great. I don't wake up feeling like crap, and I can have like 3, 4 max, and I'm good.
Yeah.
If I'm if I'm like having fun. So, that's my drink of choice. I don't drink wine. I try to keep my drinks to like one thing, and that's what I stick to.
Yeah, but tequila is like it doesn't have as much calories as like a glass of wine does. So it's actually a little healthier.
Yes.
Maybe I need to switch it up.
Yeah. Just keep, everything I said, everything in moderation, right?
Yeah, you're right. Well, sticking with like nutrition, guys in my industry, and I'm sure in all finance, we travel so much. Like I'm on the road all the time. I was in El Paso yesterday on the road, back in Austin. I got to be in like Houston next week. I have a hard time finding the appropriate thing to eat when you're like in a hurry. So like sometimes I'll stop at Whataburger and grab a burger, and I'm like, man, I know this is not good for me. Or Popeye's chicken or whatnot. Yeah. Right? Like, do you have any recommendations or advice to guys like me that are constantly on the road, but also want to maintain healthy eating habits?
Yeah, man, I think that just comes to preparation, right? It's like myself included. If I don't prep my meals, if I don't pick up my MyFitFoods or have my meal prep done, anything like that, then I can get in those time crunches too where I'm super busy. It's like, man, there's this place open right now. I'm gonna pick up some drive-through. So I think preparation is key. Obviously, being on the road all the time, I think is one of those things where it's like the discipline of prepping, right? You're gonna be at a hotel. All right, you know what? I'm gonna grab like some some snacks from there, like a few apples, some bananas, some granola, something like that, or prep in before being on the road or doing the things. But when you go out to dinner, stick to the proteins, right? Stick to the proteins, low carb, low fat. I think everything is in preparation, and I think it's also these days, you obviously have like different, GLP ones that you use to like that, and I'm not opposed to them because I use them myself, and I think is I take it in a microdose, and I think they're very useful. They all have their benefit in the way you use them, and
Yeah.
I only promote those to people that just need a little bit of an edge, right? And I think it's crucial. But once you learn that and you use it, you realize that you don't need these other bad things. Like I look at fries, look at fried food, I'm just like, I don't want that. And
Right.
normally I would eat chick wings, you name it. I love food, like I love to eat. And I think it's just being able to turn off that food noise. I think that's one option. But at the end of the day, you can take whatever peptide you want. There's not going to be a substitute for your own discipline of being able to dial in your nutrition. And I always
Right.
recommend people to like, just take like 4 to 6 weeks, counting your calories, looking at what you're eating. So that way you know in your brain, like, okay, that's how many calories that is. That's how I feel with that. And then once you do that when you're on the road, you're able to like better guess it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we've had in-length conversations about nutrition and the peptides. And I want to talk about peptides. That's a big topic right now that I'm seeing. It's all over my Instagram feed, and I get asked all the time, like, what supplements are you taking? And I started Retta, I think it's called Retatrutide, right?
Yes.
Retatrutide maybe about 4 weeks ago, and have noticeably seen my midsection lean out. But my performance in the gym has not been affected. So I weighed myself yesterday. I lost about 10 pounds in this time frame. I look at fried foods the same way you do now. Like, I don't know if it's the peptide doing it or I'm just so self-conscious now of what I put in my body. And maybe it's a combination of both. But my cravings for like sugary things and fried processed foods, pizza, which I absolutely love, like is no longer there. But I'm feeling the benefits in my body. It's due to I think it's due to the Retta, but I'm like noticeably seeing it.
Yeah, and that's obviously one of the effects of it. Is like it's gonna turn off that food noise when you're eating those fried foods and you eat them. It's gonna sit in your stomach longer. You're not gonna feel good. So they like, what, I'm gonna avoid that at all costs, because I already know how that makes me feel bloated. So yeah, the Retta does cut out that food noise. It curves those appetites. I know I've heard people that I train, people that work with me, or people that I know that take it, where it even curbs their alcohol consumption. They're like, I don't feel like drinking alcohol, and that's one of the things with me is like like I used to love a good tequila, like I like the
Right.
now I'm like, man, this tastes like shit, but but at the same time I still like the effect it does,
Yeah.
But I think it was like it does help with all that. And I think Red as like I said, there's a lot more benefits there. I love talking about the benefits and like talking about that, but I'm not one of those coaches and influencers. I like to hand it out to my team. Obviously, I can speak on it. I've been using peptides for over 6 years now, and a variety of ones testing. I like to test things on myself and see what works before I even like give a recommendation. But those real recommendations come to like a actual.
So who do they go to?
professional.
Who do they go? I mean, I went to my doctor to get it, but like if I'm just watching this from the outside, where do you typically go?
So, obviously you want to go through your doctor, get blood work is going to be key, right? Get blood work, see how everything looks, just taking stuff and ordering stuff from online could be, you're taking a risk, right? But I know there's a lot of people that do that. They order from online. I just always recommend, man, do your blood work. Obviously, I work with a great friend of mine who has his own peptide company. His name is Jay. And, get really good quality peptides from him. Obviously, have the people that I do like blood work with too here in town and then online that also recommend peptides. So it's just like, it just depends where you're trying to get them from. But I always recommend getting blood work first, seeing how everything looks, because it's better to know what's going on inside than guessing. And, as much as I love peptides, you still got to be careful with anything that you put in your body.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, the blood work is important because when I got my blood work done, not only did it tell me where I was deficient, it also showed my testosterone levels. And I think, men have a hard time talking about their testosterone levels. Like if it's low, I think there's like this idea that we're going to look at you as an inferior because you have low testosterone. Mine was so low. And I mean, I knew I was like losing kind of my step, but I thought it was due to aging. When I hit 40, I was like, you know what? I'm starting to slow down a little bit. When I finally found out that my testosterone was low, I immediately started doing the testosterone replacement therapy, and I have my energy's back. My brain fog is gone. My sleep improved tremendously, and I'm more like aggressive when it comes to my work and my craft. Like I know how to lock in now. But it was. Do you talk to your guys a lot about like testosterone and kind of
Yeah.
what the benefits are, like to get that blood work done?
Yes, man. Anyone that trains me, as you know, I'm like, hey, get your blood work done. I want to see where that's at. Obviously, hearing from the doctor what they had to say, then I'm able to see, okay, that's what the doctor said. I'm able to interpret better, and then based on that, like, hey, yeah, your test is low. Whether you decide to take testosterone or use like a natural, more of a natural supplement, maybe something like Marsman or things of that nature. There's different ways for you to go about it, but basically, having an optimal testosterone is going to help you out, because if you're low testosterone, you're training really hard, you're going to be really tired, you're going to be sore all the time. There's a lot of things, a lot of brain fog, things of that nature. I think there used to be, I don't know if this is just because I'm in the industry, but like a taboo of like testosterone, be like, oh, you take testosterone, oh, you do this, and blah, blah, blah. Like people get all like freaked out. I'm like, man, there's so many studies now that, say how good it is and how beneficial it is.
I mean, it's even good for women too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, my buddy Brigham, who runs Waste Well, he does a really good job of advocating and talking all this information. So I always like seeing his stuff because he's very educational in his team, and also saying with other partners that I would like talk to and work with. And I think it's we're in a time now where longevity is key, and we have all this information and access to a lot of new resources where, yeah, you should be checking in with your blood work, making sure testosterone on point, your estrogen, all your hormones are, in an optimal level for you to be able to perform.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I've picked up so much knowledge from you just training with you this past year. Blood work, I had never got my blood work done until you told me to. Never really thought about peptides until we talked about it, with the group. Started lifting differently, started even walking differently, trying to just optimize my entire health, my profile. And I think that's what you are like really good at, is finding ways to help optimize the individual. Wasn't that y'all's like motto back in the day?
Yeah, human optimization was the on its like slogan.
I mean, I think that's like spot on what you do, and the benefit of working with you, whether it's online or if it's in person, you're gonna get that like total optimization kind of formula, right?
Yes, and that's the big thing, with a lot of people that I work with, obviously there is an expense, to work with me. I'm not just giving you workouts, right? I'm providing you information to be successful in other realms, like whether it be nutrition, hormone optimization, checking in regularly. There's a lot of things that go into fitness. I think a lot of people, when they hire like a fitness coach, personal trainer, here's the workout, just do it, and then that's it. We check in. If you guys have any questions, you can hit me up. I try to link you with all my network to make sure that everything's getting done, because I'm, not only do I coach it, I live it myself. I have to do it myself. And I know how good it makes me feel, because I have been that person where I was 253 pounds. I was strong as hell. But I look at pictures and I'm like, damn, I was fat. I was jacked, but I was fat. But then back then, everyone was like, you're strong. But I was like, fuck. So, I had to live that lifestyle. I had to do that zone 2 cardio. I dropped 43 pounds. Started, doing blood work, doing all these things. And I think for me, it's not just me telling you what to do. I also do it, and I think that's why I'm better able to speak on it as opposed to just do this and like, yeah, good luck.
Yeah. People ask me a lot, like, hey, how do you do it? What do you like? How come you're so successful? Or how did you get Nickel Hayden to do what it's doing now? And it's a combination of all of those things, but it all started with health. But even on the health priority, or my principle that I like to live by, there's so many factors of that. It's what you eat, how you train, what supplements are you taking? Is your blood work up to date? Like there's so much to it that I can't just like give you this 1-page document that says this is how you become successful in business. But without health being the first one, this is the reason why you're the first member of the podcast here, is health. Without health, we don't have the other stuff, right? Which is how we started the podcast. But if I'm watching this from the outside, again, where do I even start? Like, how do I even like take that Band-Aid off and just get after? What is the first thing that we should tackle first?
Man, the first thing you need to tackle is obviously getting that gym membership.
Yeah.
Getting that gym membership. I obviously recommend people, if they're getting a gym membership, go somewhere where there's they have group classes. Like at our gym, we have small group training. Hire a coach. The reason I say the group classes is because you'll be in an environment where there's other people pushing you. Or if you hire a coach, they're going to be the ones pushing you, giving you the right game plan tailored towards you. So I think the first thing is getting that gym membership, whether that be group training or a personal trainer / coach, working with them, dialing in your nutrition. Obviously, the gym should take care of that and help you with all that stuff and getting your blood work. I would start with those two things first to get the ball rolling. And then from there, kind of like start amping up. Because I don't want to give you, or I would not want to give someone, here's the checklist that you need to do ASAP. And they're like, oh, I'm not going to do that, So it's like start off with some baby steps and then get it going.
The first step is to take that first step, right? Like get that gym membership.
Exactly.
I love the group classes because they also hold you accountable. And what I like about Correct Fitness is it's almost like a team, right? When you walk in, like you see everybody, you say hi, you dap them up. I have gotten so many compliments from just other members and other men in there saying, "Hey, bro, you're looking good. Like, keep it up." But like, I know they can have like my back if I don't know how to do something correctly. Like, they're gonna help me figure that out. But the group classes, man, provide so much motivation, like a teamwork. And in my business, working as a team is the only way we succeed, right? And so I'm all tying it back to like health and the benefit of going to the gym. That teamwork translates into the workforce, and you surround yourself with another team within the work. Who are your teammates?
So my teammates, they range from a variety of people. Obviously, you're one of my teammates. The people that I coach and work with, those are my teammates because we have a high touch point. Obviously, I have my teammates that I work with. Obviously in the gym, I have like Larry, Alex, Earl, Carlisle, like those guys. Those are my gym team. And from there, I have a bunch of coaches that I help oversee. That I help. We run all as a team, right? I'm the biggest promoter of teamwork makes the dream work, right? Because it's not like a one individual that's going to make everything happen, right? We all have to put in our part. And I'm very understanding in any business, right? Everyone has to do their part in order to be successful. So those are my teammates. Obviously, my family's my team. My brother, my mom, sister, everyone. Those are my teammates first and foremost. And then, everyone that I interact, I'm fortunate that I have a big team. I have a big team that I interact with a lot. I talk to at least, 50 to 100 people every day, whether it be in person or online. Something that I'm thankful for, and so I have a big team, but those would be the people that I work with. Obviously, I have Preston that's helping you out as well. He helps me with all my media. Have to be able to rely on other people in order to be successful.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that. I've been a Lone Ranger before, and it's the worst way to build a business. It's the worst way to grow your book. With a team, it becomes fun. Like, you learn things. And I tell my guys all the time, steal things from people, right? Like, if I like the way you look, I'm going to steal your workout plan. Or if Preston, if he is so articulate and he knows how to present something, I'm going to steal the way he speaks and the way he presents. Taking things from your team, I believe, is the quickest and best way to build your own Superman, right? Like, I always tell people, like, what is your superpower? For some people, it's public speaking. For some people, it's math, or maybe they build houses quicker than anybody. But like, if we all have multiple superpowers, we just become this like superhuman person. But going back to Correct Fitness though, that's the only place where you train, right? But they can still find you online.
Yes.
And so what's the best way for someone to get in contact with you, find you, and get this training program?
So obviously you can find me on Instagram, Coach Juan Leija, and you can find me on there. You DM me, shoot me a message. I have my website, which is coachjuanleija.com, and you can check out my VSL there. Click in if you're trying to get someone in person, not in person, but online training. Go through that. We can set up a call and start working together.
I love it, man. So real quick, we'll end on this. who is your target audience? Like, who is your like, if they're listening out there, who's the guy that should be contacting you?
So, I'm looking for men that are in that, 30 to 60-year-old range, people that are ready to really dial in, dedicated, are you successful in business? Are you doing good in everything? But you're maybe just missing that little step and you want to take it to the next level. Those are the people that I'm looking to train because, I have to be very specific with the people that I work with. Because like I said, when you're working with me online, I'm not there to be in person with you. So I need that certain level of mindset of like, yeah, I'm ready to get after it. And I'm there to give you the plan, give you the protocols, make sure that you're being successful. But yeah, those are the people that I'm looking to train for, is those men 30 to 60 years old that are ready to take their, their fitness and health to the next level, just like they do with their business.
I love it, man. Well, you have been such a huge influence on me and Edith. You've transformed the way I approach working out. You've transformed the way I approach business. And I've stolen a lot from you. Hopefully you've stolen from me too. But I want to thank you for, one, being the first podcast member and also for all the things that you have done for us and what you will continue to do, because I'm not going anywhere. We're still going to be training hard. I know we're going to work out tomorrow at 8 a.m., right? So maybe Preston can record it. We'll post that too. But thanks again, brother, and I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Rudy.
All right, man.
Yeah.